Hello everyone. I wanted to come on here and give you an update on Rob, and it's a really good update. Yesterday, they were talking about if he couldn't wean himself from the respirator, that they were going to have to do a tracheotomy on him. They had started sitting him up so his lungs could breathe better and things like that. He was still unconscious and things like that. Well, I called this morning and asked how he was doing, and they told me there was no change. He has an infection in his lungs. You know, Nothing had changed. He still had his high fever and things like that. So, last night, I went to, me and my children, every night before we leave, we go to the chapel and we pray. And Rob's cousin yesterday told me to turn this over to the Lord, and I got frustrated with her, and I said, everybody is telling me that, but how do you do that and still not worry, So anyway, I prayed for a really long time last night, and anyway, long story short, I turned it over to him. And today when I walked in, I called to see if I could go back, and she said the nurse needs about 10 minutes, if you can wait that long. And I said, okay. 10 minutes came, and they called me to come back. When I walked in, it was the most beautiful sight I'd ever seen. Rob was sitting there, eyes open. The respirator was gone, and he was able to talk to me. And even though he was saying some pretty crazy things, it was a good sign. It was the most beautiful sight I'd ever seen. He of course, he has to take breaths a lot, and he does one word per breath, and it's real low and raspy. You have to really listen to him, but he's really emotional. He's crying a lot. He says he sees angels. He says he sees beaded angels. And he said all they do is just stand there looking at me. And he asked me if I was his wife. The doctor was telling me to ask him multiple questions because Rob has suffered many strokes during the surgery, and they wanted to make sure that he was able to remember things. So it kind of scared me when he asked me, he said, "Are you my wife?" And anyway, he recognized Mitch and Madison, and he keeps asking me what the year is. And every time I tell him it's 2008, he begins to cry. I asked him what was the last thing that he remembers, and he said that the last thing that he remembers is Beth telling him that she's breaking up with her boyfriend and she wants Rob to leave her alone and to butt out of her life. Which is kind of odd to me because Beth and Rob had that conversation the last day that she was here. That was on a Thursday. She left on a Friday, and that was the last time she was here. So I find that a little odd, and I think that it's the last day that his life was normal, and I think that that's significant. He he does remember me. I asked him to tell me that he loves me, just because I've missed hearing it. He's one of those people that tells me daily, several times. And he told me that he loved me. And he said, I love you so much. I married you twice, so you would know. And so he remembers things. He he said that he loved Todd and Karen, or Todd and Cindy. And those are his cousins. So anyway, he's in a lot of pain, but not from his incision. It's from his neck and his arthritis and stuff. But one hurdle at a time. So I just wanted to give everybody an update. Thank you for all your prayers, because God has heard every one of them and has brought him back to me. So I thank you all, and I will give another update a little bit later on as the week goes. So everybody have a good night. I know I will.